Hello, and welcome to tonight's session on releasing perfectionism. Before we get started, please grab your pen and paper, water, and tissues. That's to take notes in case anything comes into your mind and to keep yourself hydrated and in case, you cry or something. So those are good tools to have around, and let's get started. Perfectionism is an emotional terrorist. Nothing is good enough. You aren't good enough. When perfectionism strikes, it makes everything in the world worse. Perfection is a great concept, but in reality, in real life, in the complicated modern world, it is not helpful to be obsessed with perfection. Our job here on earth is to progress, not to be perfect. We are doing great if we are just getting a little bit better every day. It's about the trajectory, the direction we're headed in, not the perfection. Having realistic goals and celebrating progress over perfection is the only way to be really happy. And it's the only way to set ourselves free from the debilitating obsession with perfection. We are working through 9 images today. And we're going to get started. You can go ahead and close your eyes. Image number 1 is of a school. Imagine sitting in a school with a very demanding teacher. This is a fancy school, and this teacher demands perfection. This teacher's motto is C is for thee, B is for me, A is for God. No matter what you do, nothing will be good enough because only one person gets an A, and that person is not alive. Emotions of panic, horror, a cycle of trying so hard and still getting a C, feelings of shame and despair. I'm not good enough. I'll never be good enough. I've just got to try harder. I'm already yawning. You can tap and breathe. The secret is that nothing can impress a teacher who has that kind of philosophy. Nothing is ever good enough when only God gets an A. That's the reality. So feel a scream of frustration bubble up out of your body as more and more effort is poured into work at this school, and still nothing is good enough. Go ahead and just tap and breathe. We're going to do probably 5 or 6 good deep breaths here. Okay, go ahead and tap on your collarbone or on your forehead, and we're going to read these together. Even though nothing I do is good enough, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. I am opening my heart to a new perspective on what is good enough. My efforts alone can be good enough. I can deserve an A for effort, and it is not cheating. Breathe it in. My progress is more important than perfection. Breathe it in. Imagine the school. Imagine your portfolio from the year and see how you have made enormous progress when you compare the beginning of the year to the end of the year, even though the teacher has been unforgiving. Imagine angels coming to verify that you are moving forward and that is good enough. See an angel come and revise your grades to an A. An A! Breathe it in. Deep breaths. And imagine that A and a big thumbs up from your angels. Okay, image number 2, the rule of thumb. See a switch, a tree branch that has been cut just for the purposes of swatting people with. The rule of thumb comes from the rule from like old England that a tree branch cannot be thicker than the person's thumb at the thickest point. If you're gonna use a stick to whack somebody with, like a child, the rule is it can't be thicker than your thumb. This is a switch that has been used to punish those who do not perfectly obey. So close your eyes and imagine your ancestors through history being subjected to the switch. Even innocent mistakes can lead to a whipping with the switch that can end in bruising or blood, and it can be just hugely traumatic. And I'm having images specifically of like children who dare to wiggle or talk in church and then having to go home and get get whacked around with this switch, or you know, a lot of times children, but also a lot of times women disobeying their husbands back when you were not allowed to do that. And so we're just going to honor all of these ancestors coming forward with their stories of the punishments that they have endured because of imperfection. So go ahead and imagine feeling the horror, fear, panic, shock, the pain of past ancestors, feeling the sting of the switch because of their mistakes. Go ahead and breathe it in. Let's go ahead and tap. I am calling up my ancestral trauma with imperfection now. Whew. Can you feel that? I am breathing out the ancestral trauma I carry from being imperfect. I am releasing my trauma and the trauma from my ancestors over punishment from imperfection. Okay, you can put your hand on your heart. Imagine a tube of divine light shining down from heaven to grace the heads of you and all of your ancestors. Let this light teach everyone involved how mistakes are okay, and God is not waiting there with a switch. Parents and authorities do not have to beat the imperfection out of their children. It is safe to not be perfect. Tap and breathe. We're putting in a new pattern here. Breaking out the pattern of frustration and anger from parent to child over imperfection. And you can see how this cycle goes around in circles where the parent is angry at the child for being imperfect, beats this child, the child grows up and understands, okay, we're supposed to hurt each other for being imperfect. And then does that to their child, who does it to their child, who does it to their child. And nobody enjoys it, but it is the cycle that we have. And so imagine breaking that cycle apart and tossing the switch into a fire. I'm still tapping and just like yawning and yawning. Whew. Imagine watching that switch burn into nothing while all of your ancestors watch, just like totally stunned. Whoa, we don't need that switch anymore. It's gone. There's no need for a switch when there is compassion for mistakes and errors. Go ahead and breathe it in. Okay, you can close your eyes and imagine a beautiful Chinese fan. This fan is being used in part of a dance by a geisha-style dancer. But imbued in this fan is paralysis. It is terrified of messing up. If the dancer makes one wrong move, everyone will know. And this fan feels like it's the fan's fault. If the dancer messes up, oh, it's the fan's fault. Feel the terror, fear, paralysis of the fan. I don't want to mess anyone up. If I just be perfect, if I just don't move, if I don't even breathe, then I can't mess things up. Imagine seeing the fan drop. The dancer has accidentally dropped it. Feel the fan's shame and deep chasm of embarrassment, humiliation, sorrow, and blaming that it fell. It wasn't even the fan's fault, but the fan blames itself. Okay, let's tap. I am opening my heart to a divine perspective on which mistakes are mine and which are not. I am opening my heart to a divine perspective on which mistakes are my fault and which are not. I don't have to carry the weight of mistakes that were not my fault in the first place. Breathe. It can be safe to turn over my fears of failure to the divine. Okay, hands on your heart. Breathe. Imagine the dancer turning over the fan to the universe. She hands the fan to an angel who thanks her and said, "This fan was perfect and you did your best." And the angels approve. Go ahead and breathe it in. I'm hearing the fan is safe to be itself. It doesn't have to carry the weight of the dancer. Breathe it in. Okay, image number 4 is a bundle of rocks. Imagine an old woman carrying an enormous pile of rocks on her back. This pile weighs her down enormously, but she feels like she cannot let it go. Every time she passes a rock of any kind, a big stone or a tiny pebble, she feels compelled to pick it up and place it on her back. At this point, her back is straining and near breaking. Her body is fatigued and exhausted. She feels lost and confused, but she can't stop picking up these rocks. These are mine to carry. These are my imperfections. The only way to make up for them is to carry them. Imagine an angel coming to her and explaining that it's actually not her job to carry all of these rocks that she's finding. She's not perfect, but that's okay. It can be safe to put the rocks down and just focus on standing up straight and tall. Imagine the emotions of this woman, the pain, the crying, tears, self-rejection, self-blaming, the sorrow that bubbles up as she begins to realize she doesn't need to carry this burden after all. Has she carried it this whole time for nothing? Fear comes up. If I let it go, what will happen? See the angel show the woman a video of her letting it go so she can see that the worst that will happen is she'll feel free to be herself. Her back will straighten up and she will feel years younger. See the woman cry as she realizes she has been deceiving herself all along. She thought she was keeping herself safe and being responsible by carrying every rock, but in reality, she was just dragging herself down and hurting herself and her mind and her body. Ask if the woman is ready to let go of the rocks. And when you're watching the recording of this, you may need to pause here and talk to this woman for a minute. Wait until this woman is ready to let the rocks go. When the woman is ready, go with her and an angel to a big waterfall, a big river. When you're ready, help the woman unpack the rocks and toss them all into the water. Watch how the woman's body straightens out as she releases these rocks and lets them go. See how her hair gets longer and fuller and thicker and more colored. Her skin becomes young again, her wrinkles disappear. See how she straightens up. When all the rocks are gone, see how she laughs out loud and says, "Wow, I didn't know I could feel young again. I will not keep picking up these rocks." Go ahead and put your hands on your heart. Feel that joy. Throw any rocks away and just breathe and breathe. Image number 5 is contracts. We're pulling up all perfectionism contracts now, and we are going to work with all of them using 2 symbolic contracts. The first is I contract to punish myself for my imperfections, and the second is I contract to relentlessly focus on my imperfections. When I asked why these contracts were here, the answer I got was that it is because there's the feeling that they help us stay safe by making sure that we never forget how imperfect we are, so we never stop working on getting more perfect. Like, if I'm not constantly punishing myself for my imperfections, then I'll never become perfect, and I have to become perfect. And if I'm not obsessing over my imperfections, then how will I ever become perfect? So these concepts are not based in truth. We're going to imagine a divine light shining down on us, and this light is made out of truth. Feel that light shine through 2 pieces of paper, these contracts. This light is illuminating these papers and showing them how they are wrong. Imagine ripping up these contracts and imagine setting the pieces on fire and watching them burn into nothing. I actually did this exercise with a real piece of paper the other day, and I had never done that before. I say the other day, I mean like less than a week ago. I tried this for the first time, and it was really powerful to write down the contracts and actually set them on actual fire and burn them up. I burned them up in a mason jar in uh just like at my house, and then dumped the ashes into my garden, so they can become living things and be recycled. Um, so, anyways, we're imagining these contracts burning into nothing. And if you feel so inclined, you can do that in real life as well. But let's watch as some replacements are formed. New contracts that say, I choose to forgive myself for my imperfections. I know that I can live in a state of self forgiveness and continue making divine progress every day. Go ahead and breathe it in. Breathe it in. Whew. Image number 6 is of 2 praying hands. Here are 2 praying hands. They are praying for forgiveness, but they don't actually believe in forgiveness. They don't realize that they've already been forgiven. At this point, the only forgiveness they need is their own. They need to forgive themselves. But these hands don't have faith in that. They don't believe they can be good enough to be loved and good enough to be forgiven if they're not perfect. They just think, I can only be loved and forgiven if I'm perfect. So if I'm not, then I just have to keep asking and begging for forgiveness because no one will give it to me. But that is not true. Imagine a toddler falling down as they are learning to walk. See how the loving parent picks the child up only to have the child fall down again. The parent picks the child up again. This is how the divine sees us. We are little babies learning to walk. When we ask for divine forgiveness, we receive it, but we need to forgive ourselves too. Feel the resistance to self-forgiveness flow up, and feel the resistance come up to the idea that God truly forgives. Feel it. This idea that God doesn't forgive unless we are truly changed. We have to be perfect for God to forgive us. I can't forgive myself until I am sure I will never do that stuff again. And it actually doesn't matter if I never do that stuff again. I won't forgive myself anyway because what I did was so wrong. A bunch of fear comes up that says, if I allow forgiveness into my life, but I don't deserve it, then what? And this brings up feelings of paralysis, nausea, feelings of self punishment, the need to self punish, blaming of others, the self, and the universe. Go ahead and tap, tap, tap. We're breathing out these big feelings with 3 big deep breaths. One more deep breath. See an angel coming to the praying hands and helping the praying hands realize that it really can be safe to heal from this and let it go. See the hands start to wring and stretch and shake themselves out in fear and also just to release these emotions. So partially they're scared and partially they're letting go. When you're ready, go ahead and flick your real life hands and shake them out. Just shake your hands. I'm like whacking my hands together and wiggling my fingers. Shake it out while taking 4 very deep, powerful breaths. We're clearing out the fear of being forgiven, the fear of forgiving ourselves and accepting personal and divine forgiveness. Releasing, releasing, releasing. Hear a rubber band snap and feel the dam break as you release those big feelings with movement and deep, deep breaths. You're doing great. When you're done, flip your hands upward and receive. Just hold them up so that they're pointing to the sky. Your palms are pointing to the sky. Imagine a pink light of forgiveness flowing into your hands It flows into your hands, up through your arms, into your heart, and pumps through your whole body, this pink light of forgiveness. Imagine this and breathe until the process feels complete and there's pink light through your whole body, including and especially your brain and your heart. Go ahead and breathe it in. We'll be here for a few seconds, just breathing, our hands up. Okay. Image number 7 is the fight. Imagine a standoff between two schoolgirls. They are fighting over who is better. And the line comes from, as I was doing this, I heard the line from the Annie Oakley musical. Anything you can do, I can do better. I can do anything better than you. So they're like singing this to each other. Neither of them can handle anything, anyone or anything being better than they are. When someone else is better at something, externally, these girls might seem fine with it, but internally, they're beating themselves up. Why aren't I as good at skiing as that person? Why aren't I as great at, jumping jacks as that person? And everything that other people do, they're sitting there saying, well, why can't I be as good as them? Why are they better than me? And it's a very combative feeling and just really negative. See these girls escalate in their public battle. Is it a spelling bee? An Annie Oakley style song and dance number? Are they actually fighting with fists? See them each trying to display their dominance. The mindset is, I have to be better than you because that is the only way to be perfect. Whoa. Reading that out loud, I just felt like a wave of energy flow over me. This is a false belief. We don't have to be better than other people in order to be quote unquote perfect, right? That's not what perfection is about. See the belief come up. Perfection is a function of being better than other people. Whew. What a false belief. Oh, breathe it out, guys. A true perfection exists separately from other people and separately from all comparison. Perfection can exist in a vacuum. It has nothing to do with what other people say, what other people do, what they are, what they make, or anything else. It has nothing to do with other people. When comparison triggers feelings of imperfection, it's a good sign that something is not in alignment in our own hearts. So send a white light to the hearts of these two dueling girls that shows them that they don't have to compete, actually. Competing like that is actually the most imperfect thing to do of all, because it's rooted in a false belief that we're compared to each other, and we are not. On a divine level, we are not compared to each other. All of our journeys are unique, and no one is better than anyone else. We are all on our different journeys. Imagine these girls suddenly waking up to this reality and coming to each other and shaking hands. They are just done. They just suddenly feel like, oh, I'm done. I don't have to fight you anymore. I don't have to fight anyone. I can just be myself. And so they just shake hands. Imagine that. They're done fighting over who is better. You can put your hand on your heart and just breathe it in. Image number 8 is the monkey and the fish. Imagine a fish in a tree flopping and dying, and imagine a monkey underwater drowning and struggling. Now imagine an angel trading their places, moving the monkey to the tree and the fish to the water. The divine message is that every being has a capability for perfection, but only as itself. Trying to be anything else is a recipe for failure. We need to find our true environment, the environment where we belong, and then work on being ourselves as purely as possible. Trying to be perfect at swinging from trees when you are a fish is stupid. And trying to be perfect at swimming underwater without needing to breathe is stupid when you are a monkey. This is the divine permission. We all have permission to figure out who we are and what fits our strengths and to work on progressing towards what is perfect for us. What is perfect for you is not perfect for others, and you don't have to be perfect at everything. You get to be perfect at being yourself. Okay, let's go ahead and tap. I am choosing to accept being myself as good enough. It is safe to be myself and accept that as good enough. Breathe it in. We're going to do it again. I am choosing to accept being myself as good enough. It is safe to be myself and accept that as good enough. Deep breath. One more time, guys. I am choosing to accept being myself as good enough. It is safe to be myself and accept that as good enough. Okay, hands on your heart. Imagine an angel now coming to you and showing you what sort of environment you need to thrive and live a happy life. Imagine going there and feeling so at peace and so calm and good. It is safe to stop judging yourself for failing at being a fish when you are really a monkey. Breathe it in. And as we're here, I just keep feeling like there's another message that I need to say about this. And what I'm hearing is about like actual geographical environments, like actual physical locations, and that, you know, the world is a really varied place, and the situations and environments we put ourselves in, you know, they really can affect us a lot and how we show up. And when we're in a physical environment where that's just not conducive to who we are, it can be really stifling and really hard to feel like you're making progress, and it can feel really hard to feel safe to be yourself. And um and that is just the reality of it. And so what I'm just hearing is, well, let me listen to it for a second. It says invitation, a divine invitation to sit down with the divine and with your council of angels and really ponder about this and write out on paper with your hand. You know, sit down with the divine and write down your impressions and concerns about the actual physical space that your body shows up in, you know, wherever your house is, wherever your town is. You know, if you're in school or you have a job or you're stay-at-home parent or whatever you do, like the environment that you find yourself in, what needs to change? What can you do to change the environment you are in so that you can stop beating yourself up over imperfections and make your environment perfect for you so that you can feel more perfect, if that makes any sense. But I'm just seeing a variety of solutions here as far as I'm seeing a woman rearranging furniture. I'm seeing a woman tossing tons of stuff out for like the goodwill, you know, donating tons of stuff and reducing the burden that she has to bear on of taking care of stuff in her home. It's not conducive to who she is. And I see another woman who is supporting herself by going to an art class. And I see a family and a man in particular, like spearheading a move and saying, you know, this town is not a good town for what we need to be ourselves. So we're going to move to a different space where it will be easier to be ourselves. And so there's a lot of options as far as like actually going to a different place, or rearranging the space that you have, or rearranging the time that you spend, going to a class, taking the time to learn a skill. All of these things are things that you can do to shift your environment so that it's supportive to who you actually are. And a story is coming into my mind. If you've heard of, I don't know, what is it called now? It's called Gallup Strengths or something. The old Strengths Finder test, where you take this big test and it tells you your top 5 talents according to their list of like 34 talents. And their book, they have a book called Strengths Finder 2.0, or that was what it was called 10 years ago or something. And I loved that book, and it just pointed out that focusing on your strengths is what is going to get you ahead. If you have a kid who's a genius at math and really bad at writing or music or something, and you focus on trying to fix the kid's supposed deficiencies in reading and music instead of encouraging the math, you're missing out, because somebody who has a natural aptitude for math that's encouraged could end up being a super math genius who's inventing stuff and like doing this crazy stuff. But it's the same with every skill. We all have these natural strengths. When we focus on our strengths and growing our strengths instead of obsessing over our weaknesses, that's when we're going to really be able to help others and serve others. And focusing on what's weak and trying to fix that is not the way to experience excellence. And anyway, I bring it up because I took this test at the same time with a bunch of friends, and one friend who took the test at the same time, it tells you your top 5, and then if you pay more, you can pay for like your top 10 strengths or like your whole list. And she just really wanted the whole list because she didn't care about her top 5 strengths. She wanted to obsess over her weaknesses, and she was like straight up about that. She just said, I need to know what I'm bad at so I can fix it. And I just thought, you don't get it. Did you read the book? Like, you don't get it. That's not what this is about. Obsessing over your weaknesses is the greatest way to fail in life. If you spend all your time trying to fix what's wrong with you, like, that's not helpful. You need to focus on what you're excellent at and like throw yourself into it and just do it. And that is the way that you're going to be making this huge progress, is when you celebrate what you are naturally apt at and work towards it. So anyway, this is all, I mean, it's not to say that we shouldn't care about, our weaknesses, if we're dealing with addiction or, these other big problems. People have problems. We all have things that we need to fix. And I mean, obviously that's what I have devoted my life to doing, is helping people fix these problems. But at the same time, obsessing over what's wrong with us is not the answer. We have an invitation from the divine to focus on what's good about us and to really cultivate that. And, yes, we still get to work on what's weak about us, but we also get to focus on what's great about us. Okay, that feels done. Image number 9, our final image, is of messy handwriting. Printing can be a sign of perfectionism. Okay, and I mean like printing versus cursive. When you see somebody with perfect printed handwriting, that can be a sign of perfectionism. I used to study graphology, handwriting analysis, and one thing that would come up in my studies of it is that a lot of times young men will end up printing, and like boys will end up, shall I say, males. A lot of males will end up printing, and instead of writing in cursive or with their letters joined. And what that can be is if their male pride is wounded at a young age, they can be terrified of showing imperfection. And what that looks like in handwriting form is an obsession with perfect handwriting. So anyway, we're going to imagine a person writing with perfect printed handwriting. And now we're going to imagine them writing in a scrawl, suddenly unafraid of what people will think about them if their handwriting is less than perfect. Just see that switch go off and they're like, oh, I'm free to write what I'm really thinking. And it comes out in just like a messy blob of handwriting. The message is it's safe to be less than perfect, and it can be safe for others to see our imperfections. So just imagine that handwriting getting messier and messier and more unique until suddenly it feels perfect for that person. You know, is it the most beautiful handwriting in the world? Maybe not. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. But it is perfect for that person. It is not about objective perfection. It's about the writing being just right for that person at that place, at that time, and that's good enough. Go ahead and breathe it in. And I'm seeing an image of this young man with his messy handwriting. And he's always had perfect handwriting, and he picks up his paper and shows it to everyone in a class, and he doesn't care that they think his handwriting is messy. He doesn't care. He feels safe. It can be safe for other people to see me in all my imperfection. Breathe it in. Okay, we're going to do some final tapping. Okay, tap, tap, tap. I choose to set myself free from the prison of perfectionism. I can accept myself as I am, mistakes and all. I choose now to release myself from comparing. My journey is different from anyone and everyone else's. Breathe it in. I am safe to experience my own experience, even if or when my experience doesn't jive with my own definition of perfection. It is safe to be imperfect. I love myself and all my flaws. Let's do that one again. I love myself and all my flaws. I love myself exactly as I am. Go ahead and put your hands on your heart and breathe. And we're going to imagine ourselves growing roots into the center of the earth and out 5 miles in every direction. And imagine that tube of pink light from the divine shining down on your head and flowing through your body of this perfect love and acceptance for who you are right now. And no, you're not perfect, and that's okay. It's good enough. Feel that divine acceptance and just breathe and breathe. Good job.